Excuse me.
I'm worried about two things, crime, drug, pati yung NBA. Kaya doon na naglalaban na naman tayo. So, sometimes may gulo. Sa awa ng Diyos dito, wala naman masyado. But in Mindanao, the fact is no improvement in the landscape can occur if there is no law and order. Magulo ang lugar, kawawa talaga. Ang una yung mga barangay captains. Hirap sila at they are targets. Marami na. Next to soldiers, ang pinakamaraming namatay dito sa Pilipinas, barangay captains. Those who do not follow the communists. Ito may human rights. Kung magsalita at may namatay sa kanila, kagaya ni Oris, talagang pinatay sa sundalo yun. May encounter Gusto pa ng mga buang autopsy. Ang gobyerno is pictured really as something of a killing machine. Yun ang ng human rights. Puro left rin yan talaga sila. Walang human rights na democratic. They are all communist. Kaya nandyan yan sila. Pati yung mga madre, pati pare yung nandyan. Si Oris. Oris is pare. Pare ng Surigao yun. He was killed about 1 week ago sa encounter. Yan sila. Mga pare.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Chinese Coast Guard reportedly blocked and water cannoned 2 Filipino boats delivering food supplies at the Ayungin Shoal. Several officials and maritime experts have since voiced their outrage over the incident. Marian Enriquez with the details.
In this cell phone video, a vessel can be seen using its water cannon to drive off a boat. According to reports, this was just one of 3 Chinese Coast Guard vessels that blocked and water cannoned 2 Filipino boats en route to Ayungin Shoal last Tuesday. The boats were supposed to transport food supplies to military personnel stationed at BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. The area is part of the Kalayaan Island Group, which the Philippines considers part of Palawan Province. According to National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon, China has no right to be in the area.
It's a fact that it is within our exclusive canal zone, and we have sovereignty and we have jurisdiction over the area. Wala sila dapat doon.
The Foreign Affairs Department said no one was hurt in the incident. However, the boats had to abort their mission. DFA Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. said he had expressed outrage, condemnation, and protest to Beijing over what he calls their illegal action. Locsin says they have no law enforcement rights around the area. For maritime law expert attorney J. Batong Bakal, China's actions are evidence of bad faith and lack of sincerity. The country, after all, had recently concluded its latest meeting for the proposed ASEAN-China Code of Conduct. National security expert Professor Romel Banlawi said that China blatantly violated the principle of due regard.
Lumalabas na hindi enough yung diplomatic process, kaya dapat i-explore natin yung iba pang options to complement our diplomatic process. Isa nga sa mga options na sinusulong ko nga, yung conclude na yung Code of Conduct sa South China Sea.
But should the Code of Conduct still not suffice, Banlawi said the Philippines should use its alliance with the United States and mobilize support from the international community. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
National Task Force West Philippine Sea says they spotted a total of 45 Chinese militia vessels near Pag-asa Island over the past week. National Security Advisor and NTF for West Philippine Sea, Hermogenes Esperon Jr. said that this is a record number for the year. But one maritime law expert says the Philippines and China should sit down and talk over these territorial concerns. Professor Rudiger Wolfram, former president of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, said the 2 countries should find a way to ease these tensions.
All states, including the Philippines and the People's Republic of China, should sit together around table would be the appropriate picture, and whoever will take the lead should ask for establishing such a round table to seek ways out of this growing tension which is existing in the South China Sea.
President Rodrigo Duterte claims that even barangay captains have died at the hands of communist groups. Duterte said that aside from police officers and soldiers, the CPP-NPA is targeting barangay captains who do not obey communists. He also criticized the human rights groups that continue to insist that communist leader Ka Oris Madlos was ambushed.
Ito mga human rights. Kung magsalita at may naman patay sa kanila, kagaya ni Oris, talagang pinatay sa sundalo yun. Di may encounter eh. Gusto pa ng mga buang i-autopsy kung saan ang tama. Yung mga gano'n na kalukuhan ng human rights, puro left rin na talaga sila. We are all communists. Kaya nandyan yan sila. Pati yung mga matre, pati pare, yung nandyan. Si Ores. Ores is pare. Pare ng Surigao yun. He was killed about 1 week ago. So encounter.
Comelec says the youth comprise at least 30% of registered voters for the 2022 elections. Spokesperson James Jimenez says the projected number of voters for 2022 has reached 67 million. Jimenez says 30% of this are young voters aged 18 to 30 years old. And if the bracket is expanded to include voters up to 40 years old, that makes up 51%, or the majority of the voting population. Jimenez says these figures show the importance of the youth vote in the upcoming elections.
This is just a projection. So far, ang relative numbers natin is about 30% ang youth, 18 to 30. Okay? That is a moving number, because hindi pa nga ito tapos. If the youth votes as a bloc, then yeah, definitely. No, laking bagay yan. But the thing is, it really depends on who these people vote for.
Are you still expecting an online delivery from the latest 11/11 sale? Well, you might want to open your package with care. A customer from Bataan found 2 live snakes inside his parcel. Arian Calumbiran with the story.
The brother of Cheryl Riotan was expecting to receive a folding bed which they ordered from a store in e-commerce app Lazada. He excitedly opened the package as soon as it was delivered to his boarding house in Bataan over the weekend. But to his surprise, there was something crawling underneath the bubble wrap that was not included in the order.
Akala niya previous na toy. Gumalaw daw po. Doon na sila nagulat, natakot sila na bakit may ahas.
The small snake tried to slither its way out of the plastic wrap. Cheryl says her sibling was able to catch it and place it in the bottle. But the worst is not yet over, as he finds out that there's another and even bigger snake in the package.
Tapos nung bubuksan pa po ulit nila, nasa bandang gitna daw po yung mas malaking ahas. Iyon po yung gumapang palabas, pumunta sa may basurahan. Doon na nila pinatay.
Cheryl says the folding bed's plastic packaging appeared tightly sealed. Because of this, the siblings believe the snakes may have found their way into the package when it was still being packed at the seller's warehouse.
May parang karton lang sa may gilid, tapos nakabalot siya ng manipis na plastic, tsaka nakabubble wrap. Dalawa siya, isang malaki, isang maliit. Baka namaya anak na po yung maliit. Doon na sila na tumira.
The siblings immediately tried to contact the online seller for a complaint, but the seller refused to admit that it was their fault.
Ang gusto lang po namin sana, public apology po yung seller sa amin kasi kung ano namang pinagsasabi na kaysa sinisiraan lang daw sila, may naglagay lang daw doon.
Despite this, Cheryl said they decided not to file a case against the online seller. They said Lazada has already apologized and has vowed to investigate the incident.
Imbestigahan nila yung nangyari, tapos inalok nila ako ng voucher, sabi ko hindi na kailangan. Basta ang gusto lang namin, sana mag-public apology nga yung seller sa amin.
Cheryl also warned other buyers to be more careful in placing orders online, especially during the holidays. Arian Calumbiran, We Are One News.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. President Duterte claims a cocaine user is among the presidential candidates for next year's elections. The clue? This presidential ball comes from a wealthy family whose family name is known for its patriarch. A woman who claims to be the lawful wife of former broadcaster Raffy Tulfo files a petition to cancel his COC for senator. And the cast of the Harry Potter series reunite to relive their adventures in the wizarding world. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.
Check, check. 1, 2, 3.